At 61, Johnny Depp is finally speaking with the honesty he rarely allowed himself before. For decades, the world watched him through the bright glare of Hollywood fame, imagining a life of glamour and endless success. Yet the reality behind the curtain was far more complicated. Years of public scrutiny, personal loss, and painful battles left deep emotional scars that success could not erase. Today, Depp is slowly revealing the truth behind his choices and his disappearance from the spotlight. This is not a plea for sympathy or redemption. Instead, it is a quiet attempt by a man to reclaim the pieces of himself that were lost long before the world noticed he had stepped away. The quiet exit from Hollywood. In 2023, Johnny Depp made a decision that shocked fans and the entertainment industry alike. Without a dramatic farewell, without a press conference, and without any public explanation, he left Los Angeles and quietly relocated to the countryside of Somerset, England. One moment, he was a central figure in Hollywood culture, and the next he seemed to vanish completely. For months, there were no public appearances, no red carpets, and no confirmed sightings. Reporters searched for clues while fans speculated about his future. The silence was unusual for someone who had spent decades living in the constant attention of cameras and headlines. A disappearance that was really survival. For many observers, Depp's sudden disappearance felt mysterious. However, the truth behind it was far simpler and deeply personal. Later, during a rare local interview, he explained that he had not been trying to hide from the world. Instead, he was trying to heal from years of emotional exhaustion. "I'm not trying to be seen anymore. I'm trying to find peace," he said quietly. That brief statement spread rapidly across social media, revealing more about his state of mind than any long press interview ever could. Behind those few words was a man who had endured years of public battles, betrayals, and relentless scrutiny. Finding peace in Somerset life. In Somerset offered a striking contrast to the chaos of Hollywood. Depp settled into a vast countryside estate that stretched across hundreds of acres, yet his daily routine became remarkably simple. He woke before sunrise, took long walks across the quiet fields, and spent hours reading outdoors. Those close to him described the early months as a period of near silence. He rarely spoke and avoided unnecessary attention. It was not anger or bitterness that kept him quiet, but exhaustion. After decades of being constantly photographed, criticized, and analyzed, the stillness of the English countryside became the first place where he could truly breathe again. The emotional weight of fame? For someone who had spent nearly 40 years at the center of global fame, stepping away was not easy. Hollywood had shaped his identity, but it had also slowly worn him down. Every role, every interview, and every headline added pressure to maintain an image that the public expected. Over time, that image began to feel less like an opportunity and more like a burden. The world believed they knew Johnny Depp, but much of that understanding came from tabloids and speculation. In Somerset, far from the spotlight, he finally had the distance needed to reflect on how much of himself had been lost to the demands of fame, rediscovering himself through painting. During this quiet period of reflection, Depp returned to an artistic passion that had long existed in the background of his life: painting. What began as a simple hobby soon transformed into something far more meaningful. Art became a form of therapy, allowing him to express emotions that words could not capture. Alone in his studio, he began creating deeply personal pieces filled with haunting imagery, muted colors, and fragmented figures. These paintings were not designed to impress critics or collectors. They were attempts to process grief, confusion, and betrayal. Through each brushstroke, Depp slowly began rebuilding a sense of identity beyond the roles he had played. A surprising success in the art world. When Depp's art collection, titled A Bunch of Stuff, debuted in New York in 2024, expectations were modest. Many assumed it would simply attract attention because of his celebrity status. Instead, the exhibition stunned collectors and critics alike. The paintings revealed a depth of vulnerability that few had expected. Dreamlike compositions, distant faces, and quiet empty spaces created an atmosphere of emotional reflection. Limited edition prints sold for up to $50,000 each, and many pieces were purchased before the gallery officially opened. Within months, total sales exceeded $5 million, proving that Depp's creative voice remained powerful even outside cinema. The language of silent emotion critics struggled to categorize Depp's artwork. Some described it as surrealism, while others called it visual poetry shaped by pain. One reviewer famously referred to the paintings as visual silence, suggesting they captured the emotional aftermath of a life lived under relentless public pressure. Yet Depp himself avoided artistic labels. For him, painting was not about interpretation or acclaim, it was simply a way to communicate feelings he had never managed to express in interviews. Friends say that through art he confronted years of heartbreak, betrayal, and misunderstanding. In that quiet studio, he discovered a language that allowed him to speak without explaining himself. Returning to his first love, music. Long before Hollywood discovered him, Johnny Depp's first dream involved music. As a teenager, he imagined himself as a guitarist rather than a movie star. That early passion resurfaced during his years away from film sets. Reuniting with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, Depp returned to the stage with the rock supergroup Hollywood Vampires. Touring across Europe, the band performed classic rock tributes to legendary musicians who had influenced them. For Depp, these concerts were not about celebrity or headlines. They were about reconnecting with something genuine. Music offered a sense of freedom that acting sometimes could not provide. Choosing roles with purpose. After Jean du Barry, Depp became more selective about the projects he considered. Gone were the massive franchise films and the pressure to maintain blockbuster success. Instead, he gravitated towards stories that explored complex human emotions. Director Mark Webb cast him in Day Drinker, an introspective drama starring alongside Penelope Cruz. Webb described the character as a wound moving through the world, a role that required vulnerability rather than spectacle. Around the same time, filmmaker Terry Gilliam offered him a strikingly unconventional part, portraying Satan in Carnival at the End of Days. Each project reflected Depp's desire to explore deeper artistic territory. A life defined by choice. What makes this stage of Johnny Depp's career remarkable is not the roles themselves, but the way he approaches them. There is no visible urgency to reclaim former status or prove anything to critics. Instead, he moves slowly, carefully choosing projects that resonate with his personal journey. Those close to him say he no longer measures success by box office numbers or awards. His priorities have shifted toward creative fulfillment and personal peace. Hollywood once shaped his identity, but it no longer defines him. For the first time in decades, Depp appears comfortable, allowing uncertainty to guide his future. Outro. Freedom beyond fame. Johnny Depp's story is no longer just about a movie star navigating controversy or career changes. It has become a story of survival, reinvention, and quiet resilience. At 61, he is not chasing the spotlight or attempting to restore a past image. Instead, he is building a life grounded in art, music, and personal peace. Whether he continues acting or retreats further into creative solitude remains uncertain. Yet perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what he has been searching for. After decades of living under the world's expectations, Johnny Depp is finally living on his own terms.